Welcome to our technical webinar focused at our auto capture documents, auto capture components in digital onboarding toolkit. Thank you for joining us. Today's webinar will be divided in two parts. The first part will present you the components and also some demos. This part will take approximately half an hour and will be followed by a question and answers session. However, you're of course more than welcome to ask the questions anytime during the webinar. For that, please use the questions and answers tab. There's no need for you to take notes or whatever, because we will be sharing the webinar recording with you after in the follow-up email. Should you have maybe more complex questions or get in touch with us after the webinar, here are the two email addresses which you can reach us through. And last but not least, let me introduce today's speakers. Here with me is Victor, who is the product manager of Digital Onboarding Toolkit and will guide you through the presentation. And with him, there are my colleagues, Peter and Dennis, who will help him to answer all your questions. Should you have any. Like I said, anytime you want to ask something, please use the questions and answers table. Thank you very much and enjoy the presentation. Victor, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Janka. So we'll start today's presentation with web auto capture components. As you probably know, this is a new addition to our toolkit, as up till now we've been offering only the mobile app components. The goal why we did this was it's not only, well, the world is moving from the app store to browser applications, and we wanted to provide the same great user experience for the users as they are having with our current mobile app components. And also the components that we developed, we wanted to achieve that these will provide the best quality photo captured, and this can be done automatically without user interaction. And of course, we consider also our customers, who are the developers integrating our components, and we design them in a way that the integration is easy and smooth. So let's start with the demonstration. I will show our public demo website where we will test these components. So the camera auto capture component, what it does, it takes the video stream from the camera and scans the video stream for any document. As you can see, it's detecting the document. So if I fit it here, you can see it's pretty easy. And the same way as we capture the document, we have components also for capturing face, which I will be demonstrating now. So now the component is detecting the face in an image. So I place my face in the middle, and here I have a picture of with my selfie. So this easy, it's to use the components. Okay. So probably your first question was what browsers are supported with this component. So we try to support all the major browsers with up to 3 latest versions. So it should be pretty universally usable. And now let's get to the part which is interesting probably for most of you, as we expect there are technical people in this presentation. So there are now some information how you can use these components. As first, you need to install them into your project. We provide these via package managers, so you can install it either with npm or yarn. In case you don't use these two, it's still possible to get a zip file that you can just copy into the project. What is important to note about these components, we also optimize it for the size so that you don't get a delay when loading your website. We try to keep it as small as possible. And the installation size of this component is 1.4 megabytes for each. And this is pretty low and probably the lowest you can find around. Now, the components are doing some magic, how to detect the face and document, and this magic is done by neural networks. And you need to run them in browser somehow, and we use for this WebAssembly. So this is a part of the component. Of course, it needs to be hosted by the website provider. We don't host it publicly, but it's not any extra work. The WebAssembly is included in the installed package, and you just need to copy it in the proper folder. To use the component, it's pretty easy. You just wrap it inside a parent node. It's important to note that the height of the parent node needs to be defined. These components for browsers support only fit mode. We will be later on discussing what is fit and fill mode. And when the component successfully takes a picture, it returns a callback that contains the best image of the either document or the face. Of course, you've seen the component in our design, but the component can be customized. The customization includes changing the colors or selecting a different placeholder, and of course, you can translate the instructions for the local that you need. But now we would like to hear also some feedback from you, as there are different possibilities to the customization. What I mentioned just previously is the one approach where you can customize predefined things. Another approach to customization could be that there would be no visual overlays provided by us, just callbacks, and it will be you who will need to draw the overlays on top. And we would like to hear your opinion about this possibility in the next poll, where I'm handing over the word to Janka.
Yes, so like Victor mentioned, I just launched the poll for you, and we'd like to hear your answers to what kind of UI customization of the web or mobile auto capture components do you need for your projects. So please do answer, as your answers are really valuable to us. We'll give you some time to do so, and after that we'll share, of course, the results with you. So it's whether no customization needed, it looks okay, or the translation of the messages and modification of the overlay elements color. I need to design different overlays and I will display them on the callbacks, and I need to develop a different workflow of the auto capture components. So let's give you some few more seconds. And thank you for participating. I am ending the poll and sharing the results with you. So you can see that the most of you replied or chose the second option, the translation of the messages and modification of the overlay elements color. Thank you very much. And Victor, go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Janka. Now to provide you with some more information, of course, you don't have to note this down. We will be sharing the presentation afterwards, so you will receive the links that we have in this presentation. But we have a public documentation which you can access on our website and find out information about integrating these components. And also as a help to developers developing under different front-end technologies, we provide sample source codes in public GitHub repository where you can find sample integrations for React, Angular, Vue, and jQuery. And with this one, we have another poll for you, Janka.
Yes, launching it now. So please let us know which front-end technology do you use in your projects mostly? I can see your answers coming in. Thank you very much. Let's just give you some more time. Yes, so ending the poll now and sharing the results with you. There you go.
So thank you. It's pretty tight with the React and Angular, so we will consider this in the future. Thank you. So now that was it for the web components. We will be now moving to the second part of the presentation, which is about the mobile components. But of course, this concerns also the web component. What we have done is we designed a new auto capture mode, which we call free mode. Now, the motivation here was to improve the auto capture of document, because in the past somebody could consider difficult to capture this. The restrictions have been loosened a little, but still it's not affecting the image quality in a way that would cause any problem with the OCR. So now I will demonstrate it. This will be demonstrated with a mobile app. So let me start my phone. Okay, you probably know our demo. So let's see. As you can see, I didn't even was able to tell anything, and I got a capture. But let's demonstrate it on the back side. You can see that we're detecting the component. We're drawing an overlay where we are displaying the edges of the detected document, which guides the user to take it from closer. And of course, we don't care that much how you position the document unless you place it into the picture with a good resolution. So as you can see, I took the picture of a rotated document and I have all the data read successfully without any OCR issue. So this auto capture mode, we call it a free mode, but in the API it is now called as a standard mode. This free mode is becoming our new standard. The previous mode that we have, we still keep it. We call it strict mode, and there still might be cases when you would choose the strict mode, especially if you if in your project are scanning documents which have very small fonts, or you have bad document quality, so you need the picture of the document much better. Of course, if you take normal documents, you should go for the better user experience, and shorter time to capture. In the bottom, I'm also displaying information how you can switch these modes in the component. Also, I discussed the detection layer, that were the four corners of the document displayed. This is also configurable. We have on our testing found that showing this detection layer is helping the user to understand what he needs to do, and it's improving the user experience of the component. Now, what I would like to discuss, and I have mentioned previously, there is a fit and fill mode. Why this matters is because that the component area designed in the application can be different from the video stream aspect ratio. This might happen, for example, if you design your application to display the component, the capture component on full screen, and the screen is different size than the camera, or there are specific cameras with different aspect ratios. The fit mode does that it fits the whole video into the component area, meaning that there might be some blank areas appearing there. The fill mode, on the other hand, are filling the whole component area with video stream, and of course there are some areas that can be cropped out. Now, both have positives and negatives. The negatives of the fit mode is probably that it doesn't look that well. Probably your designer would be having issues with this. The fill mode, on the other hand, can reduce the quality of the picture taken, and of course it makes some kind of digital zoom and forces the user to take the image from the further distance. So here you can see some different scenarios how it might end up with fill mode, fit mode, and of course, depending also if you design your application to take to show the auto capture component on the whole screen of the phone, or if you have some header and footer. And this is a point where, again, we would like to hear a feedback from you. We would like to know how you are designing your applications, what accent is there, or how much accent is put on the design versus the image quality. So, Janka, please go ahead with the poll.
Yes, launching it now. So there you go. We have in this poll 2 questions for you. First, as Victor mentioned, the decision making between design and image quality. And the second one is focused on the layout of auto capture components in your apps. So please do participate, as your answers are very valuable to us. Yes, I can see that you're doing it. Thank you very much. We'll give you some time. And in the meantime, let me just remind you, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask them via the question and answers tool. So I'll give you a couple more seconds to answer the questions. And ending the poll now and sharing the results. There you go. So as you can see, most of our attendees replied that I can accept certain design limitations in favor of image quality.
Yeah. And
then for the second question, we got the auto capture always needs to be full screen, no header, no, oh, I'm sorry. I went through I read the first question, but the majority of your answers were to the auto capture always needs to be full screen. All right. So we can go ahead.
Thank you, Janka. The third part of our presentation is reading of e-documents, or to be precise, it's electronic machine readable travel document. In order to read this, you need to combine two technologies. One is the OCR of the machine readable zone of the documents, and then the NFC reading of RFID chip. The goal with this was to provide full offline functionality of document reading, so you don't have to upload any document image to the server. And of course, the NFC reading of RFID offers the most reliable document authenticity check you can get with a cell phone. Of course, if not with a specific device. So again, let's start with demonstration. Let me switch it. Okay, so here in our demo we have different second option. I will be using my passport, as that's the only MRZ RFID document I have. So now here you can see that we took the picture of the document, and there was no upload phase. We were not uploading the image anywhere. We were able to read the machine readable zone from the document on device, and we use this to unlock the NFC reading of the document. So I'm now putting my cell phone to the passport, and it's extracting the data from the chip. And here you can see that from the machine readable zone, we extracted only some data, but from the document, we were able to read the color photo. Of course, any data are in the document, whatever is public can be read. And what we did also is this passive authentication check, where we have used some public certificates to verify that the document is authentic, that it's not fraud, and the data have not been modified. So how can you achieve it with our components? The first thing is that with the document auto capture component, you have to enable the machine readable zone reading. You configure this in the same component, and what it does, it will scan the document until it can read the MRZ field, and it parses out all the machine readable zone data and returns it. And these data from the MRZ zone you can use to create NFC key, because otherwise you're not able to read any data from the passport. So you use the parse data, and then you can use our document reader component to read all the data from there. As we demonstrated also the passive authentication, this is what you can also achieve with our component. What is necessary, you first need to get a public certificate, which was used to sign the document. The ICAO organization keeps a directory of all the public certificates issued by governmental authorities that can be used for public. You have to download this directly from them, accepting their end user license agreement. When you get the master list of the certificates, you need to convert it, and you have to feed the certificate that you want to use into our component. And if you do this, then we ensure that the passive authentication of the document is performed. Now, why we want you to do this process with the certificates is because it's necessary that each of you accepts the end user license agreement of the ICAO organization. And there are updates to these certificates, and we would like that you should keep an eye on this public directory and update the certificates. So we have also poll questions regarding this. So Janka, go ahead.
This is our last poll that we have prepared for you today. So again, we would like to ask you two questions. Do you see the MRZ reading in browsers needed functionality? And do your customers ask for NFC authentication check on server? So I'll give you some time to click the answers. And I can also see in the meantime your questions coming in. That's perfect. We are very happy to see those coming. So my colleagues will try to answer some of them right away, and the rest we'll keep, of course, for the questions and answers session. So I'll give you some couple seconds, but it looks like okay, everybody who won it already participated in the poll, so thank you very much. I am ending the poll now and sharing the results with you. There we go.
Okay, thank you. So we see that you see also potential in the machine readable zone recognition in the browser. So we'll keep this in our plans for the future. Thank you, Janka. So, and this concludes the presentation for today. Now let's go to the questions and answers. Janka, could you please provide the questions?
Yes. So the first question I can see here, how do you make sure that image quality of the picture is good enough?
Okay, so as I mentioned, that there is some magic done with the neural networks, which are detecting where the document is appearing in the image. There are also additional checks which do test the image sharpness, image brightness in the area of document, and of course they check if there are not any hotspots or flares on the document caused by the external source of light. And when taking the picture, there are multiple candidate images taken from the video stream, and we try to select the one which has the best best parameters of all the tracked values.
Okay, thank you. Next question: what's happening when they are different types of documents to scan and read? Are we able to design the model of capture locally?
I assume that you're probably asking about different types of documents. In that case, we have a list of supported documents which you can read, and if you need different ones than we do support, we can train them. But of course, that doesn't concern the auto capture component. The auto capture component can detect any kind of document, not only the ones which are trained by us.
All right. The next question: what happens when MRZ zone cannot be correctly read during auto capture? Reflection, obscure, dirty documents.
Well, as I mentioned in the previous question, that we're selecting the best image frame from the video, which in the concerns of sharpness and brightness. The same we can do with the MRZ zone. When parsing the MRZ zone, there is a checksum digit, and we scan for image frames until we get an image frame where the checksum digit will be correct for the given MRZ field.
Okay, so hope that answered the question. The next one, for active authentication, does it pull the certificates from PKD or a predefined offline copy of the public key? in the case we are using the demo for a different passport nationality other than those already stored in offline mode if PKD is not used?
We do not use the PKD online, so we ask the developers to download the certificates and keep them locally, or well, of course, you can host the certificates, or if you have direct access to the PKD, you can download it on the go during the app execution. But our component needs to be, you need to feed the certificate into our component. The component doesn't go to internet to search for any stuff. So in case you want to use PKD, your application needs to grab the certificates and then feed them into the component.
Thank you. Here we have the next question. How does Innovatrics verify that the document has not been modified if my document does not support NFC or MRZ?
Yes, in that case, there are different methods which have been part of our presentations in the past. But of course, it's much more difficult task if you don't have these fields. So we can check if the document was not taken from a screen, if it's not a black and white copy. But that's, if you don't have the NFC and MRZ in the document, that's pretty much what you can do about it. So you can use also some third-party sources to verify the authenticity of the document.
Thank you. Will using multiple metadata for a document make web service slow?
Multiple metadata for document.
Or there's maybe that was my fault. There's a metadata ID. Does that make more sense?
Well, the auto capture component is not, you know, the capture time is irrelevant of the data displayed on the document. So it's our server which is doing the OCR scanning of the document. So our auto capture component just grabs the image locally and creates an image, and you upload this to our document server, and the document server can spend variable time by recognition of this document, but on the front end, the time should be always the same and irrelevant of the amount of data on the document.
Maybe I would just add to that the metadata ID was specified in the OCR server in the previous component. So maybe this customer is asking about this. So in the previous version of the OCR, we didn't have the automatic document classifier. So if you specified more, it really took a long time to process. But now we have a document auto classification. So you don't have to specify the exact type of the document, and it's still going to be fast because this classification is pretty fast. And before OCR had to be performed anyway. So it will be definitely faster than the previous OCR server.
Thank you, Peter.
Thank you. So the next question is, how do you verify person liveness?
Yes, so we have passive liveness and active liveness algorithms. You can try it in our demo application or also on our demo website. We've done presentations about this in the past, and we are planning some of the next webinar about the passive liveness from the image. So I don't want to share too much about it now. Let's keep it for the next webinar.
Lovely, that was a nice teaser. Okay, the next question. So with passive authentication, with the certificates downloaded, we don't need any more to interact with National Repository of Documents?
If you have the latest public certificate, you don't have to interact with any other party then.
All right. Okay, what's next? I can see a lot of questions here.
Yeah, but we still have a lot of time.
Yeah, so we must ensure that some specific visible areas of the ID card are wallets. How can we explain to the legislator that their requirements are fulfilled by the Innovatrics solution? For example, the vertical line of the eagle cross must intercept another line. I believe this is compared or...
this is related to probably the visual check of the document authenticity. For what you described, we don't have current solutions, so there would probably have to be some custom solution made for this. So if this is a requirement, please contact the sales, your sales contact from Innovatrics to discuss this project.
Okay. The next question. Are you able to generate from captured information, face recognition, MRZ data, etc., a cryptograph or a QR code that will use for offline verification?
Our Toolkit doesn't provide this function, and I think this is a way where our integrators are developing their solutions. So we provide core technology for face capture, face recognition, face matching, document capture, document matching, and whatever is done with this technology is up to our customers. So probably there is some customer of ours that's providing this kind of solution.
Okay, thank you. Will the OCR check for ink color intensity, ratio, and size of background and fonts at etc. to reduce the possibility of a fraud document, or even support the reflection of the hologram to help reduce fraud?
As mentioned, we don't provide this visual authenticity check of the document. If some further development with this will be achieved on our side, we will be glad to share it in some of the future webinars.
Thanks. Okay. What happens when MRZ zone cannot be correctly read during auto capture? I believe we already answered this. Okay, sorry, it wasn't it wasn't marked as answered yet. All right. So, do you have some cooperation with a signature provider to support qualified electronic signature?
I'm not aware, but if you need this information, I can check with my colleagues from the sales and respond to this after the webinar.
Yeah, we'll definitely have the report of all the questions asked. So if not replied, we can definitely follow up and answer you offline after the webinar has ended. Okay, and I see the last question probably here. Can't recognize Ecuador passport with a mobile app. Unfortunately, we could not recognize this document. Is there any list of supported docs?
Yes, we do share the list of supported documents with our OCR technology. We have two levels of support. One is full OCR support. That means that the document has been trained and we extract all the data. The lower level is the support of the MRZ reading. So as this was a passport mentioned, I assume that if you would use the MRZ flow for this passport, we could extract the data. The same goes with the RFID chip, if there is any present. If you would like to have the full document OCR for Ecuador, I think we do not support this yet. But if you provide us with some few samples, we can train it and provide it in some reasonable time.
Thanks. Okay. Sometimes we get a question from our clients whether there is some kind of quality certification for DOT available. Mainly large corporate companies are willing to use technology, only having some document from official authorities confirming accuracy of extraction.
We do use some independent authorities to qualify our algorithms. So for the phase matching, we use the FRVT of the NIST, where we are ranking pretty high in the list of the providers. And for the passive liveness, we have passed the iBeta tests, so we have the results of this. So these are the two things which we can provide.
Okay, thank you. Let me answer the question. Maybe for all of you, I will just repeat that we will be sharing both the recording and the presentation in the follow-up email in upcoming days. All right, and would you recommend liveness detection on device and use the card or passport as a reference photo to compare with, considering the fact that the photo on card e-passport could have been replaced or manipulated? Imposter scenario, or would you backend liveness detection provide for much higher security using a reference photo from the backend database?
The passive authentication check can be performed on the device, and this check makes sure that the photo extracted from the RFID chip was not manipulated. So even on the device, you can ensure that the photo that you are matching with the selfie is not modified if you use the RFID data. Of course, if you would be using the image that is taken which is printed on the document, you cannot be so sure. But the image which is stored in the RFID chip has been digitally signed, and the certificate allows you to check that it's the correct one. Of course, if you want some additional check to make sure that the data are really valid, you could use some governmental authorities if you have the interface to them.
Okay. And I believe that's it. Thank you very much again for all your questions. It was a pleasure for us to reply to them. Thank you very much again to joining us and to stay with us. I hope you enjoyed. Like we said, we will be sharing the presentation and the recording with you after the webinar in upcoming days. Thanks a lot again. Have a nice rest of the day and see you next time.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.